Voilà, we zijn begonnen.
Hallo,
Hoi.
alles goed?
Ja, zeker.
We gaan gewoon beginnen, or we're gonna start in English probably, it's better.
Mhm.
So, yeah, tell us a bit about yourself. What's your name?
My name is Jean.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Belgium, Leuven.
Yeah.
Grew up there, went to school there. Then I studied horticulture in Ghent later on. I always loved traveling.
I love traveling. Is that the reason why you came to live here?
It's how I ended up here, that's for sure. No, not really the reason. I think that was more meeting Mara and having the same dream. I met her here, so that's how we ended up coming back here.
Can you
And
maybe explain how you ended up here?
Ik had gewoon zeggen, als we opnemen, geen harde geluiden of kraak.
Oei, oei.
Maar op koude voeten is goed. Want we hoorden, ja.
Yeah, so how did you end up here?
there was a good friend of mine who was coming to Portugal to do a permaculture design course and visit some people. And he asked if I didn't want to join him.
Why did you think he should ask you that you wanted to join? Did you have a
we,
character?
I was traveling with my van through Europe the year before, and I ended up in Hungary. I crashed my van, and I was going to stay with him basically. He had a Hungarian girlfriend and was doing a big project on the land of his father-in-law. And I was going to do it with him,
Okay.
but then he broke up with his girlfriend and
Life happened.
life happened. He came to Portugal the year after and I joined him.
So through a friend you came actually
Yeah.
in contact with this. But were you always interested in this, let's call it a different alternative lifestyle?
Yeah, well, since I was always a bit, I didn't know when I was younger, like from my 15 I'd say I knew there was, I didn't want what everybody else was doing but I never could imagine what I wanted different or what. Then when I was 18 I was traveling through Central America and I came across a couple of small projects, people trying to live self-sustainable and doing their own thing. And from that moment on, I think when I met those people, I just stayed there for a couple of weeks and I helped. And I knew from that time on that it was probably something like that.
And how long was this ago?
Als je aan de micro zit, je moet dat laatste stukje nog eens opnieuw doen.
Ja.
Want dat was
oké.
hier zo juist aan de micro.
Ja.
Ja, maar
Even
het is ook niet zo serieus hè, als hij gewoon iets wilt vertellen, doet hij.
Ja, ja.
Het is
Ja.
gewoon, we moeten gewoon een klein verhaaltje hebben. Ik heb een paar vragen, maar uiteindelijk maakt het niet zoveel uit. Dus je moet niet echt zo van, oh shit, moet je hier iets vertellen. Doe gewoon op je gemak.
Ja.
Het is like dat we er juist aan het babbelen waren. Hè. Het is gewoon in het Engels.
Mhm.
So you met these people and then you were like, okay, this is what I want.
Yeah, probably something like this. But I always had the feeling like I needed to travel more because I had a strong feeling I had to have seen the world, have more skills because I could also notice that you need to know or be able to do a lot of things yourself if you want to have that kind of life.
And what was the first things you started to learn that you were like, this I need to survive?
Well, then I came back and it was kind of expected to have go to school, have higher education. So I looked for the higher education which was most hands-on, practical, and it was horticulture.
Oh, okay, so you actually saw this and you wanted to like, okay, this is my life now.
Yeah.
And did you already plan to think like, okay, I'm gonna end up somewhere, someplace in the near future, so I need to prepare myself?
No, not really. It's the near future. Well, I'm 29 now. I've been here 3 years. So when I was 25, 26, just before I got here, I didn't expect it to happen so soon. I always thought it's gonna be a bit later when I had more time to be young, so to say.
Yeah, but is there a certain ideology that you think, like, that's why I'm doing this? What's the reasons? First of all, okay, you want to be self-sufficient. What are the other reasons?
I think mainly that it just like it doesn't really make sense to me, the kind of life people have, like working a 9 to 5 job, coming home, switching on the television, watch television or watch some kind of screen basically. To me it feels quite disconnected to everything around me and everything I actually do want to connect to. So
it's more the nature aspect,
yeah, I guess nature, yeah.
to be in contact with nature.
Yeah, that's always something that I had really strong since I was a small boy. I was always playing outside, going to the forest, or I always loved nature, I guess. So
To get connected with nature. Okay, so that's why one of the reasons that you chose this life, kind of.
yeah,
And then you met also her, and then you were like, let's do this together.
yeah, we met here in Portugal. Like I think we spent our first time together just here in the valley down there with friends, and then she decided to buy a van, and we traveled around for a couple of months through Portugal to see which place we liked most.
Why Portugal? Is there more
Um,
nature, or did you feel more connected?
There is quite a big scene, so to say, of people moving here doing similar things, which makes it a bit easier when you're young and you want to have a social life. That was definitely one big thing. Then land prices. Portugal is one of the cheapest places still to buy land, and it's got quite a nice climate. You can grow oranges, and it's like just
Okay, like
south enough, but it's not too dry like Andalusia or like the.
so actually, weather-wise, economically, and there are a
Yeah.
lot of other foreigners to connect with, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, and does spirituality play a big part in this?
For me, personally, no. Like, I know it doesn't live very strong in me. I think there's quite a lot of people around here who do have a stronger connection to spirituality and who find each other in this. And I think it's very, it's nice. I think if you're looking for it, it's there and you can definitely enjoy it. But to me, it's not what.
Yeah, for you it's just the practical surviving and living, actually.
Yeah.
With nature, but not this higher meaning. There's no.
I think it's an important part, and you have to integrate it somehow in your everyday life. And for everybody, I think that's different. I think that's a very different matter. There is that we've got like completely disconnected from spirituality, or how to give a meaning to it. Like we've had the church for so long dictating what is spirituality, and now I think for people to find how they can fill in, or what kind of actions or what kind of things they can do to be spiritual or to live the spirituality, everybody is looking, or a lot of people are looking for it. How can I do this? How can I give a meaning to my spiritual life? And so there's very many different ways of doing it, and maybe there is some ways which are good for everybody, but I don't.
People are looking for purpose,
Yeah.
but actually you were just doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your vision, like
Yeah.
my purpose is just to go into nature. But I also was thinking, it's like, okay, how, you have all of this technology around us. How is this affecting this kind of life, this alternative way of living?
Yeah. How does technology make it easier for you to do what you do instead of
Uh,
50 years ago, maybe?
Well, for example, definitely like the solar power is one of the things. If you have a solar panel, a battery, and a couple small devices, you can run a normal household in any place. If you would have to get electricity here, it would cost thousands of euros. And you have a monthly bill to pay. So I think everything as well, like trimmers, chainsaws, a lot of these machines which weren't around, they do make all the work you need to do a lot easier or a lot more
And
feasible.
the internet?
Internet is definitely. I'm not that much of a computer internet person, but definitely, yeah, it's something like whatever information you need, you can find it. If you want to be in contact with other people doing similar things, you can. Also, the social aspect, if you live quite remote, the internet is where you find out if there's social happenings or.
Yeah.
So it's definitely.
Yeah, and how do you feel, because you were talking that you know a lot of people, how is this, because it's kind of a community family thing, how can you explain that a bit? How does it feel to, because you were saying we came here because there's a lot of other foreigners, and still you go away from a place and then you come somewhere and you're still trying to find something similar, and why is this need?
Well, I think people are just very social or me myself, I am. So I need to be able to share experience or to share work or to share time, stories with other people. I don't know, just by myself I get quite restless or quite like just getting out there and being able to share as well, because people are doing similar things. You've faced the same difficulties, you get the same, like it's a bit similar, so it's easy, you've got things to talk about.
To share, because we were also talking like about parallel economies, that it's sharing things, and is that maybe also aspect, if you look at these people, you can share your knowledge and.
Yeah, definitely, like there's quite some like work exchange days that there's a group of, let's say, 5-6 guys or women or mixed, and like every week go to someone's place. Like now after the fire, with money we raised, we do like communal work days for rebuilding people's houses. So the people who lost their house get paid as well to help others out. So there's a lot of as well skills which you can share, which are easily available. You don't always have to get.
How do you think these communities can restore like nature? Because you were talking before that the old people are really happy to see you guys here.
I think the main thing here is just actually by being here, because there's such an abandonment. So like all young people left for towns or other countries to find jobs or find a different type of life. So I think just the fact that these places get inhabited again and there's people around will automatically make that there's money flowing, economy kicks off a bit, and things will develop. People will as well, because it's quite an alternative scene. People are quite environmentally minded, so there's many people really wanted to get their hands out there and reforest and to try and make it all more sustainable than it is.
Yeah, and maybe can you also talk about the money aspect of living like this?
Yeah, yeah. I think
Oh, wacht, pas. Ja, oké, ja.
money isn't easy here. Like there is a reason why all these people left to towns and other countries. There is very little jobs. Like local jobs are very low pay. I think it's 400-500 euro a month you earn. There's very little Northern European people who want to work an entire month for that money. So you have to, make it yourself basically. There's some people working on internet for bigger companies. That's always. Some people just go home a couple of months a year. Like I try doing it with the vegetables, which starts to work.
Can you talk a bit more about that aspect? Like how did you come up with the idea?
Well, I always knew I really like growing vegetables, and so when we got here and we had so much good fertile land, was just the enthusiasm was so big that we started planting all of it. And after 2 months already, it was like, wow, we're never gonna eat this, so we'll have to find some way of selling it. And we decided to do it in like a veg box scheme, weekly veg boxes. So it started slowly with like 3 or 4, and then as we got to know the land better and I got more experience in doing it all, we expanded. And like now we were doing like at least 12 boxes a week in the end. So that's
When you started this way, did you think like, I'm gonna need some money also, or
yeah, of course I knew there was somehow I would have to generate an income, and I would very much prefer to do it on my own land, to do it where I was living, and be able to not have to go out to get money in, but be able to get the money generated basically on my own land.
and if you sometimes don't have enough money, nature, if you there are some problems, nature tells you how to solve them without money. Can you maybe talk about some things that you solved, which before maybe money would have solved? One example is that you're creating your own vegetables. Are there other things that?
Well, it's like we've got. You mean like bees, for example? Like we pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we've got bees where we can harvest the honey from, which is enough to have our own honey. We make wine, at least 100 liter a year. I also distill my own liquor from the wine and from all the rotten fruit which is found on the floor. So there's quite a lot of things. We have a lot of olive oil. So there's quite a lot of things we don't need to buy anymore. As well, wood. Of course, we're still buying wood for building, but I've got quite some in storage now of things from around here, which I managed to get cut in the sawmill, and I can make windows and doors from now. But there's all the things, that requires like time. Like if you want to, there's a beautiful tree standing and you want to make your own windows, you can only make your windows in 2 or 3 years from now if you cut the tree now. So
you need patience, and that's something you maybe learn. It's a question that I ask a lot of things. Like it's like the conflict solvement, like to get in a consensus. Of course, you are here with a few people, and in the normal world there are rules and regulations and democracy, and if you live off grid, you still maybe need some of these things. And how do you go about to resolve conflicts?
Usually it works quite well, I guess. The community because there's really quite some people. There's always, I don't know, like there's enough people to bring your story to, and then these people, everybody knows everybody, so these people then kind of try to massage slowly, like everybody, every character basically. So if my neighbor ends up here and he's like really pissed off with my other neighbor for something really stupid, I know I just let him do his story and slowly start calming him down, and another neighbor comes, and it usually just by having enough people around and having enough opinions and different point of views, we do manage to
so actually
sort out the conflict.
having more interactions and being more knowing each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm almost done because it's straightforward.
Yeah, it's good.
And I would just wonder, for example, so we're doing this for the kids, so what things, what experience can you teach them? Like, hey guys, come over to this side.
Probably you don't want them to come all.
No.
It's like, okay, this is what life has taught me, kind of.
I think it's very difficult to try and convince somebody to do something like this, because it needs to be something which really comes out of yourself, or it's not an easy life, or it's not it can be quite a big struggle. So I wouldn't just say come on and do it, more like explore it, go see what it's like, is it something for you? And if you like it, definitely try it. But be realistic about it. It's not.
Be realistic. Okay, that's a good thing. And maybe just like, what does it teach you? Like, after all these years, you're like, okay, these were my life lessons that I learned. It's difficult to name them all, but maybe just the big lines of like, oh, this is how I have become.
Wow.
Deep question.
Yeah, because all the other questions are straightforward.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put this away.
Yeah, what does it do with a man being here 3-4 years? I don't know how long exactly, but did it change you in a way as a person?
Sorry.
No worries. Oh. Chill. It's okay.
Ja, dat kan ik je wel zeggen. Het is niet het makkelijkste jaar geweest eigenlijk.